Hello everyone, thank you for joining me again and welcome to any new viewers. This is To The Point English with Ben. I'm Ben. I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure. That's an old joke by a British comedian, which I particularly like because it's very true of me. I'm a very indecisive person, but that's not such a bad thing, is it? I mean, many decisions are very difficult to take, and sometimes we need time to think about them and to come to the decisions. In the B2 First, C1 Advanced and C2 Proficiency exams, there is a part of the speaking papers where you have to take a decision with your partner. In the B2 First and C1 Advanced, for example, it's the second task in part 3, so that's the spider diagram, where you have to decide on one or two of the prompts. And in the C2 Proficiency, it's the last part of the big task in part 2, where you have all the pictures and you usually have to choose one of the pictures with your partner for a magazine article or an exhibition or something like that. And often it's difficult, right? It's difficult at that time to take the decision with your partner. So that's why in this video, I want to give you some really advanced expressions which you can use when you find it difficult to take a decision. Now, the first 4 phrases I'm going to teach you are idioms, basically. They're idiomatic expressions. And the last one is just a verb. It's a very advanced C2 level verb, which you may never have heard of before. But as I said, it's very useful for when you can't take that decision when you're supposed to. So the first one, as I said, it's an idiomatic expression. It's to be on the fence, to be on the fence. Now, be careful not to confuse to be on the fence with to sit on the fence. Now, they are quite similar idioms, but there is an important difference between the two. To sit on the fence is not about whether you find it difficult to take a decision. It's about avoiding taking a decision. So, for example, if somebody asks you, who's better, Messi or Ronaldo? And you sit on the fence, you say, I can't decide. I'm not going to decide. I'm not going to give my opinion. So you're avoiding taking a decision. Whereas to be on the fence just means you find it difficult to take a decision. Maybe both options are good, but you can't take the decision. So let's look at an example sentence. I'm on the fence about this, to be honest. I can see the pros and cons of both options. Okay, so in this case, both options, whatever these options may be, as I said, if you're taking a Cambridge English exam, you may have to choose between 2 prompts but with your partner, or maybe one of the pictures, and you're finding it very difficult. So you're on the fence. It's a nice way to convey to your partner that you're finding it difficult to decide. Another expression you can use, I'm torn or I'm torn between. Now, if you just say I'm torn, then you're just saying in general, I'm torn. You're not really specifying what you are torn between. But if you do use the preposition between, then you have to specify exactly what you are torn between. You're torn between A and B. So the example sentence, I'm torn between pictures C and D. They both have their merits. Okay, so this is imagining you're in the C2 Proficiency Cambridge English exam and you have to choose one of the pictures. And you think, well, they both have their merits. They're both good. They both have potential for being in the article or the exhibition, whatever the task may be. So you say, I'm torn between. You can't decide between picture C and picture D in this case. You could be torn between having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Could be torn between going to the cinema or going to a restaurant. Many decisions you have to take in life, and you can be torn between 2 of them. Another nice expression you can use is to be in 2 minds or to be caught in 2 minds. With caught or without caught, it basically has the same meaning. Sometimes we use caught, sometimes we don't. It's up to you. So the example sentence is, I'm caught in 2 minds. I really want a biscuit, but I've just had lunch. So the decision you have here is to have a biscuit or not to have a biscuit. You really want one, but you've just had lunch and maybe you think you're putting on a bit of weight. It's not a good idea. So, really big decisions in life which need a lot of time and energy to come to the right decision. Another really useful expression, maybe you've heard this one before, is to make up your mind. To make up your mind. So in this case, we'd use it in the negative, right? Because you're saying it's difficult. You're finding it difficult to take a decision. So we would use the modal verb in the negative, can't. So I can't make up my mind. And the example sentence is, I can't make up my mind whether to take my exam before or after the holidays. So I can't make up my mind whether to take my exam before or after the holidays. This is a big decision that I know many of you have had to make. So yeah, I can't decide. I can't make up my mind. There are some advantages to taking my exam before the holidays and some advantages to taking it after the holidays. I just can't make up my mind. Okay, as I said, the last one we're looking at now is an advanced verb, which maybe you've heard of before, but I'm guessing you probably haven't because it is very advanced. It's to waver, to waver. Now, in this context, when we use waver, as I said, it means when you can't take a decision, but specifically it means that you're kind of between two options and you're going from one to the other. So at one moment you're favoring one option and the next moment you're favoring another option. So you're wavering. You imagine a wave goes up and down. I'm not sure if it's the same origin, but it could help you to remember, right? It's wavering. I'm wavering. So the example sentence: everything looks delicious, but I'm wavering between bangers and mash and toad in the hole. You're probably a little bit lost here, right? Because what is Ben talking about? Well, I'm imagining you're in a restaurant or probably a pub that serves food, so some kind of gastro pub in England. And you're looking at the menu and they have some very traditional English dishes, like, for example, bangers and mash. Bangers and mash is simply sausages with mashed potato, or toad in the hole. And toad in the hole, it's another dish with sausages. I won't explain in detail in this video, but you can Google it and find out what toad in the hole is. So in this example, I'm wavering between the two possibilities. At one moment, I'm favoring toad in the hole. At another moment, I'm favoring bangers and mash. I'm wavering between the two. Okay, so now you have some advanced options for when you can't take a decision. Very useful for those Cambridge English exam speaking papers. So I'll see you very soon for another video.